Good morning, guys. Today I would like to discuss one topic that is related to API development. That is something like data API builder. Um, that is one more option for API development for the developers who are more comfortable in the database side. Whenever we need API requirement, we generally think about the different framework, either it's .NET, Java, or some other framework. But now we also have option to convert the whole database into individual API endpoints. So data API builder is for the Azure database. It's convert the whole database into REST endpoints, and also we can say GraphQL endpoints. And with the data API builder, database object can be exposed by REST or GraphQL, so the data can be accessed with the modern techniques. We can do paging, filtering, projection, sorting, and also we can configure different policies, authentication policies. That's a JWT auth2. That's settings are available. And also it's a data API builder is open source and work on any platform. It can be executed on premises or in a container or managed instance in the Azure. So new database connection available in the Azure Static app as well. So just a high level, like these are the features: allow collection, table, view, stored procedure to be accessed by REST, support authentication by auth2 and JWT, support for easy auth when running in the Azure, like a static app is one of the example, role based authorization. I mean, at an individual endpoint, either it's a table or stored procedure, we can configure the different roles. CRUD operation by post, get, put, patch, and delete, and also that's basically the open source. Whenever we start with the data API builder, the first step is we just need to install the data API builder tool. So this is one commands I have. It's a PowerShell command. .NET tool uninstall. If it's already available in the system, so I would say you can uninstall first and then install, or if it's the first time, then go with the install option. .NET tool install, that's Microsoft data API builder. If there is a like you would like to change the version, then I would say you can do a update command as well. .NET tool update, then Microsoft builder, dev version. If you would like to see the version of tools, you can see by dev version. Next, the step is like which database we are going to connect in the data API builder tool. So basically one commands dab init database type, either it can be a SQL or Cosmos DB and other MySQL database as well, and we need to specify the database type. It's a connection string of the database, and then post mode we can define either it's development, production, UAT, staging, whatever. Once we have a connection with the database, the next step is we have to set up the endpoints. So when we talk about the endpoints, we have different options. Either we can create an endpoint by using the table, by using a view, by using a stored procedure. So we can configure all these object in the endpoints. Once endpoint is created, then the next option is to start the tool, that is dab start. Whenever tool is started, by default it's created one endpoints, by default it's 5001, that's a port number, that's the HTTPS port number, and 5000 that will be the HTTP endpoint. you have set up one the table yet, but if you already have some stored procedure and you would like to configure those results in endpoints, then you have option to configure the stored procedure as well. So next command like dab get order hdr, that is one name I have mentioned for the endpoint. Source, I mentioned the stored procedure name. Source type, stored procedure. If we would like to configure the permission, read, write, or some different permission, then we can define in the permission with the permission parameter. And REST method, either it's a get and post, we can define here. If we already set up one endpoint and now we would like to update something, in the first command you saw like a procedure is created without parameter, but if later you think okay, I need some parameter as well, so there is a source param, that is one another section we have to include. And if there is multiple parameter, then you can define like in this way: order number colon the type, comma the next parameter, then type, then comma next parameter, then type. And also REST method, if we have to allow different, multiple methods, then get, comma post, and some other methods we can allow. So these are basically the initial start. Still there are more for authentication and authorization. So as of now I'm just covering to start the development on this tool. So basically the first step is installation of tool by .NET tool install and the API builder. If you would like to update, then the .NET tool update, API builder. If you would like to check the version, then dev version. You would like to connect with the database, so you have to mention the database type and the connection string and the host as well. If you would like to add a table as a endpoint, so you have to mention the dab add as a endpoint name, and then what table is there, source, and what different permissions are there. Dab start, you have to mention to start the tool. By default it will create one endpoint, and if you would like to add new endpoints, then you have to stop the tool first, that is control plus C. That's a command you can use, and then you can include more endpoints. So this is basically the overall summary of this topic. As of now I have not covered any practical example, but in the future video we'll cover that as a practical, how we can perform these on one of the system, and how we can test all these endpoint in the Postman. So once the endpoint is configured either on table or the stored procedure, then later it can be accessed in the Postman as well for testing. So you can perform all these perform testing on all these endpoints in a Postman. There is some reference as well. I just mentioned one Microsoft article that will give you more depth on this article, more depth on this topic. And there is a GitHub repo also I mentioned. So basically when we install this tool, in the background it's create one data config file, and this data config file, whatever command we are executing, those configuration will be recorded in the file. If we are adding a connection string, then it will be added the connection string in the file. In case of connection string, I generally prefer like instead of adding directly the connection string, we just need to access the environment variable. This is the best way than as of now. So whatever connection detail available in the environment variable, that will be available, that will be accessible. So I hope you enjoy the topic, and I mentioned the two different references from the Microsoft portal. You can use those, take more review on the Microsoft, You will see all these commands. I'm going to update all these commands in the YouTube video as well. So you will see. Thank you. I hope you enjoy the video. Thanks.